I have one brief thing before we start. Obviously, all of you are going to gather before your guests, or let's say the Kindred of London are going to show up first. But Alex, you are, well, also all of you are at Hunger 1 because you're not stupid.
For now.
But Alex, you're standing on your balcony, just looking over the, well, almost finished construction. I think maybe for tonight you have put it on hold because of the noise. Or maybe it's a good thing that there's noise, I don't know. But Darius, he appears not obfuscated, but just walks through the door. Hands you a pair of binoculars. Points in the distance. Where when you look, you see... well, at first you don't notice it, but it's Salvador, the Inquisitor that you met in
I remember.
in the room. But he has grown horns. He has very, very large bat wings, and his skin looks like it's made of stone. But he's just sitting hunched over and looking over the whole thing in like a couple of 100 meters away, I guess, or something like that. It's
this is the Heralds of the Sun guy.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's far away, but I mean you can recognize him. But he looks more like a gargoyle now.
Right. Yeah. Okay. New look. Long time no see. That's somewhat disturbing. Okay. Alex is gonna say, what do you make of that?
I mean, he's part of Roger's crew, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna keep an eye on it.
I've had an encounter with this guy. We really hit it off, if you know what I mean. Like there was friction there. Yeah.
Well, Marin and I are obviously going to be on security. If you need me, just yell and I'll be there. Yeah.
No, just somebody keep an eye on that one. Like Alex hasn't heard from, our Nosferatu, because they should be on detail as well. Like
Henry is here. He's downstairs.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Gathering with the rest of the guests.
Make sure his people are working with you. I don't want any bullshit from.
Do you want me to remove him from the party and set him on Overwatch?
I would like at least to know that others of his people are, or if not, if they're preoccupied and they're being here too. I want eyes on this shit. So yeah, I would like. I hate to ruin the fucking party for him, but we need to make sure this thing goes smoothly. So yeah.
Well, I
know he would be happy about it. Whatever.
His brood father, I think they call it, is going to attend. So
yeah,
maybe one nurse is enough.
Maybe
to be in the room. As you're talking, you start to hear rumbles in the distance, like a thunderstorm approaching, which jogs a few memories from a certain night. But yeah, you gather in the Great Hall, which has been decorated to fit a medieval theme, but with all the description, there's a huge bar lined up. There are no kine in the room at the moment, because Regina has specifically told everyone that kine are not allowed until the crowning has happened and the party actually begins. But first we need to get all the ceremonial stuff over with. You guys are obviously in the room. So is Arthur. He's wearing his best penguin suit and the prettiest top hat he has. Regina is overseeing everything. She's running around with what looks like a clipboard, just controlling everything. A blue dress as usual, about the same width as her height from the hips out. It looks like a dress that weighs about 15 kilos or something like that. Very, very extravagant. You don't quite know how it's holding itself up, because Regina is a very, very tiny 18-year-old looking woman.
Corridor magic.
Yeah. Maybe it's that. Well, she has a drag bar. Maybe they know some special tricks about keeping dresses up. I don't know. Who else is in the room at the moment? Not Mary and Darius. They're running around. Henry is doing his thing. You guys. I think JK is running a little bit late. He's studying things, but he is attending. And I don't know. Let's go around the table. What are you guys wearing for this thing?
I'll lead us off. Alex is pretty much appearing very similar to the way I'm appearing. Got, he usually doesn't button all the way up, but tonight he is. Got the blood red tie on, it's very all black, black crown, just for a little bit of flair here. He fully expects some of these people to walk in with 17th century clothing, and so it's he's presenting himself in the modern Ventru executive class way, with a little bit of 17th 16th century flair on his head here, so that they know that he is prince of the ball here. And so basically he's going straight traditional here, just the way that Blackstone would, and so that's kind of just the way he's appearing.
Cradle, are you wearing a suit or still the hoodie? Or are you standing obfuscated in the corner?
No, it's not so much a suit. So much as it is, I mean, I guess it would look similar in some ways to a poncho, but much more formal. There's this shirt that's kind of underneath, and smartish trousers, and over the top in kind of very, very well made woven material of some kind of yak's fur, or maybe it must be sheep wool or something, and it's very well patterned, black and white, like stark contrast, very geometric, the pattern that's kind of woven in there. And then it just kind of gives him some form of like lion's mane crown, where it kind of tapers towards a golden thing, and it is very formal, but it is not a suit. It is definitely opposing that kind of tradition, but the way, because he is quite thin, and it kind of hangs off him and over him, there's no real armholes. It just goes around the neck and falls across him. It kind of hides him a little bit, but also gives him some form of weight that he otherwise wouldn't have in a suit, where he'd look like a scarecrow or something. So with this, he feels a little more at home, perhaps.
Naomi? Are you going full Toradol?
Yeah.
Are you muted, by the way?
So I actually found this dress mysteriously. I don't know where it came from. It just basically showed up at my door. She had about 3 already picked out, and she couldn't decide between the 2, and then just noticed this one. This dress in particular is very much on the theme of emerald, lapis lazuli, amethyst, and like a midnight matte decor of like almost stained glass, kind of obviously botany running through the dress. It's much darker than what I'm trying to describe from the picture, but same overall fit. There is like accents of like a brooch that would be something she made herself, that is has like even like an orchid in it, just a little bit on her chest. She is not the happiest. She really wished that Victor was there. Very somber. But she's putting on the like serious businesswoman to help in case shit goes wrong. So that being said, she has her aesthetic, like normal aesthetic kind of underneath, like a separate set of clothing that in case she needs to like Superman kind of style shit, she can. But yeah, very comfortable, very flowy. If she walks, it definitely drapes behind her. So that being said, she is looking at our other Toreador very nervously.
Vaughn? Have you suited up or?
He's wearing like almost like a maroon reddish suit, but of like an older style, more Victorian, with a big top hat of a matching color, and kind of like a deep purple like a petticoat underneath the suit. And there's in the band of the top hat, there's a Jack playing card in the band. And he is just kind of like walking around with like a little cane, so to speak. And he's looking like someone out of time. He looks like he's from the Victorian era, but with like the kind of person you make Faustian bargains with. That's what he looks like right now.
JK.
Yes. JK is wearing a brown suit with a black shirt, and instead of a pocket square, he has a yellow rose to symbolize sickness, as is old common things to do. And he does not have his briefcase with him for once.
It's
No,
about
no skeleton friends are attending this party tonight.
maybe. You're in the room. Obviously, there is tension and a bit of stress and everything, getting everything ready. It's about 7, maybe 8 in the evening, and you all feel almost a sense of dread, like something or some things that are immensely powerful are in the vicinity. Multiple of them, and it's not like the hairs on the back of your neck are standing, but it makes you feel a bit uneasy, as is probably intended. And at some point, I imagine you position yourself in various parts of the room. I expect Alex to be near his throne, if not sitting on it. It's very elevated. A couple of elevations below, there's like a huge area set up with instruments. There are no people attending or being a band at the moment, but they're ready for when they're called. And all the kind in here are a bit well, not a bit, they're very uneasy, but they don't know why. Not in the room, but in the building. Regina, she positions herself at the large double door, ready to call people in. People with auspex can see she is very much auspexing and scanning and and being attentive to the situation. You still, all of you now hear thunder approaching in the distance, which is, I mean, not that it's impossible, but it usually does not happen in March. The weather is not warm enough, but it's not completely impossible. The sense of power is approaching, and when you're all ready, standing there, Regina looks up, she claps and says, "Game faces, everyone." She listens to the door, which is now, well, she opens it so people can enter. And the first she calls out, still with her clipboard, or it's probably something that looks nicer, but says, "Prince Camden of Edinburgh, accompanied by Sylvester McWither, voice of Mithras." These two men enter. Camden is wearing a long Bordeaux jacket with like a high collar jacket, a black robe, you think, beneath, made of silk. It has that shine to it, and a skull mask that seems like it's been tailored to his face. And you see just yellow, bright eyes peering from beneath. And it's not visible, but this is JK turned up to like 1,000. And Sylvester is just dressed in a midnight blue suit, white shirt with suspenders. He has no tie on, looking very casually, or almost like a 1930s combined with modern era.
Not to interrupt, but Alex has like clappers on hand, and so like people who are just there to applaud by various degrees, and with the signal of his hands, they know the level of applause. This is getting a smattering, a polite, formal smattering of applause, but nothing else, nothing more than that.
Cradle will join in.
Obviously, you can't see Camden's face, but Sylvester is smiling from ear to ear, looking very charming, very human compared to how to who he's accompanying. They walk into the room, just looking around, scanning people. They walk directly past everyone and towards Alex. And Roger just bows his head just a tiny bit. And Sylvester actually falls to his knees. But as he does that, he looks up with, it's kind of a flippant smile, like he does not really mean it. But it's more decorum. And then they, walk over and stand to one of the sides. Regina speaks again. Says, "Prince Richard of Budapest." A man alone enters. Looks like he is in his 40s. He has shoulder-long, dark brown hair, and he is dressed in very kingly looking white robes with intricate silver threaded embroideries all over it. It looks very something like you would find in Slavic, half Middle Eastern regions, in that area, Romania, that period of time. Very well made, and it looks like it could be from that era, maybe. He walks in. He has a great, like a very, very big smile as he sees you, Alex. You can see excitement in his eyes. He's walking towards you. He bows deeply with arms outside and just stretches out his hand to see if you allow him to shake it. You're muted.
He'll extend his hand forward, in a kind of deferential, or not deferential, but like, just basically a princely manner. Is basically like, it's not going to be friendly. It's going to be more like formal. I see you. I'm granting you the handshake. This is as friendly as it's getting.
He leans in as close as he can get to you and whispers, "It's an honor to meet you, Prophet."
Likewise. It is an honor for you to be here. And I'm glad that you came. He recognizes the term, so he's just like, oh, and suddenly he like there's a brief moment there, his eyes like glimmer with recognition, and he's like, oh, I see you, okay. And welcome to London.
He smiles again and stands to another side. People are kind of separating themselves from each other, at least at the moment, just leaving space for people to enter, even though this fucking hall is immense. The next entrance is accompanied by a feeling, like almost like a discipline, but it just, I don't know, she's not hiding the fact that she's Bruja. There's like an aggression that follows with her. You see Regina almost stutters for a moment, but she just stops talking, corrects herself, and then says, "Prince Arwen of Dublin, accompanied by Chun-Hei." Arwen is dressed in ceremonial leather armor with like silver rings sewn into it. It looks super medieval, like something from the year 1000 or 1100, something like that. But something a chieftain or perhaps a king would wear. And she's a woman. None of you have seen it before. She's very dark, red hair, Irish look, very, very menacing face. She does not look happy at all. Just the brows and everything, like she's like stuck in a sneer almost. The woman accompanying her, oh, I forgot to say, she has a cloak and it looks like it's made from wolf fur, dragging behind her. The woman accompanying her is a Korean woman. She's simply dressed in a short cocktail dress. It's black, and her various tattoos all over her body is very visible and very rock and roll, with a mixture of oriental. But they walk very, very slowly towards Alex, just looking around and all the people. And when she's finally close to you, she simply bows her head, just as much as as little as she can, just to recognize.
He returns the gesture. It's going to be the slightest of nods, like he has locked eyes, he's not blinking. It's just like, I see you, and that's it. That's the extent of it.
They go over and stand next to Roger and Sylvester, cult members. And then it feels like the whole world goes quiet for a moment, and then is followed by a flash from outside and a thunderbolt that sounds like it struck just inside the room, but probably didn't. And then, I mean, people with celerity can kind of see it, but they appear fast and then they stop right outside. Regina says, "Justicar Craven of Clan Bruja, accompanied by Archons Cross, Moriarty, and O'Connor, along with her Dread Knights." Justicar Craven enters first. She's dressed in an emerald green dress with gold embroideries depicting Yggdrasil. It's kind of going up her chest and parting at the cleavage. It's a very low cut dress. And her shoulders are covered in some kind of fur. If people want to roll, they can do occult or animal ken plus intelligence, because this is a weird thing. Just before I continue, if anyone wants to.
I'm going to just try for it.
And intelligence for animalkin, right?
Or occult. Oh shit.
Ooh.
6.
Oh,
3 is not enough, but it's not a failure. JK, that's fucking lupine fur. Let me get back to that. Behind her, directly behind her, is Nathaniel. He's wearing a Victorian era long black jacket with an ascot that's matching Justicar Craven's dress. Looks very tailored to him. He's not carrying weapons or anything like that. It's just a very nice tailored Victorian era suit with the long jacket above it, high collared as well. And behind him you see Scarlet. She's wearing a long red dress. She's super pale compared to when you saw her the last time. Her eyes are glowing red. You can see through a veil that's just covering half her face. Her hair is hidden with it. And I mean, last time she was this old hippie lady, but this is something else. This is evil.
yeah.
And behind her, you see Elaine, or Archon Moriarty. She's wearing a black plate mail that makes no sound. She has a sword on her back. And she's accompanied by 6 people wearing the same armor, but they have helmets on, like a skull face and fangs. They walk into the room. The guards are just separating. 3 at the door. The Justicar and the Archons walk towards you, Alex. And she's not bowing, but they are. The Archons, I mean. And she's just forcing a smile and says, Prince Kairos, so happy to be here.
A pleasure to have you.
She does not move from the position, but the Archons are kind of spreading around the room. Elaine is... she's blocking the door, it looks like. At the moment she closes it and looks around at the other Dread Knights, just stands with her back turned to the door, arms crossed and waiting.
Cradle just says from the side, like, man, those guys look great. She's like really in it. Yeah. Like
Vaughn tries making
no hint of insincerity. Just like completely.
Looking
Vaughn
around.
tries making eye contact with Scarlet as she goes by.
She looks at you, just kind of like, she does not turn her head, but you see her eyes is looking at you. And this corner of her eyes just goes up, or not her eye, her mouth goes up for just a second as she looks at you. But you can definitely see, to you it looks like there's something wrong with her, deeply, compared to the last time. The hippie bay is differently gone.
No!
Justicar Craven, she turns towards the room and says, before the ceremony takes place, I have allowed the voice of Mithras to speak a few words. He walks away from his fellow cult members, gets up, stands just a few steps ahead or into the room of Justicar Craven. He looks around, still with a flippant smile on his face, and says, Mithras has decreed new laws and must be enforced all over Avalon. Always have a say in the governing of your domain. Never abandon your allies. Accept no disparagement of Mithras' name. This is punishable by death. Always put the weak in their place. Protect the pregnant, newborns, and fresh embraces. And immediately punish chaos and misrule among your servants. This is an addition to the tenets of the Camarilla. Justicar Craven rolls her eyes, but he can't see that. And
Alex also does the eye roll.
he simply looks around the room. There's no clapping or anything. People just,
No.
I don't know.
The clappers are signaled to not clap.
Vaughn's making faces at different things, like it's like put the weak in their place. He's like, and then like and then it's like protect the pregnant and newborns. He's like, there's like the meme of the lady, like, okay.
And Justicar Craven speaks up again and says, this, of course, and she has kind of an annoyed tone, is supported by the Camarilla as part of the deal with Mithras. She kind of waves, gestures, and Nathaniel, he very quickly appears with a black crown. It has sapphires all over, and at the tips, small rubies, and a silver scepter that looks like kind of monstrous faces, 4 of them at the head of it, and he hands it to Justicar Craven. And she turns toward you, Alex, and everyone around you, and Regina, she's kind of like doing that motion. They're kneeling, as expected, and I mean, I assume everyone is just following the lead. And she looks at you, Alex, and says, "Take a knee," holding out the crown.
He will step forward and do so.
By my power as Justicar, and with the blessings of the Council, I hereby decree that Alex Kairos is, from this night forth, officially Prince of London. May your reign last until the nights of Gehenna. And she puts the crown on your head, and when you stand up, she hands you the scepter. And then she's clapping, expecting the whole room to follow.
And the clappers clap vociferously.
Alex, my boy. Yeah.
Regina is kind of walking towards Elaine, and like they're having some sort of conversation, but like she steps aside and she's calling in the mortals now to attend the bar and the band and all these things, and actually get the party started. And people are starting to mingle, you feel, as they're kind of separating around. Nathaniel, he just gets as close to you as he can, Alex, and he just asks, is it safe?
It is.
He nods and walks away, not to cause suspicion. Then I'm just gonna go around here, and who do you want to talk to, you guys? Who do you feel is interesting here?
Everyone.
Who is less likely to eat me?
Arthur, you see the Nosferatu, he's kind of going around and shaking some people's hands like they're old friends, but probably from 1,000 years ago. The conversations are quiet, but it's probably intended.
I think Vaughn will go up to the King of Shadows, Arthur, and he takes his top hat and does like the "Good evening, sir."
Evening, he puts out both his hands to like shake yours. They're kind of scaly and not nice to touch, but yeah.
Pleasure to meet you, my man. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right. This is the first party of this kind I've ever been to. I'm sure you've probably had many.
I mostly just watch.
I understand.
Are you following along, Cradle?
Yeah. Just kind of in the background for a second, just bobbing.
He looks at you, kind of surprised, and says, I don't know you.
Oh, hi. Hi.
And he wants to shake your hand if you let him.
How's it going?
Good so far.
Yeah. Great party.
Have you
You
just...
know, I learned a word recently. It's called a vibe. This place has it. It's like the feeling, the energy of the room. I'm very interested in those kind of things, you know. And this place, when you guys are here, there's like boom, fear. It's great. I like, oh, you old guys, man. Like, you let me just shake your hand like that. It's crazy, you know. I'm nothing.
I'm sure that you have your values. Maybe I could use them.
Oh man, I am.
You have an edge on me. I don't know who you are, which is not like me.
You don't know me? Of course not. Like, I'm literally like, you see your shoe. I am like beneath that. I'm called Cradle or Lazari from Lazarus because we know we come back from the dead. It's great. I do things, small things, but mainly keep to myself, you know. But I'm happy to kind of hear you out if you got anything that needs doing. People you need kind of talking to. I mediate.
Do you play chess?
Oh, I not since a while. Oh, time flies, you know. Chess stays the same. They haven't released a new patch yet.
I feel business is best discussed over a game of chess.
Oh, you have a board with you? I didn't bring my travel board, you know?
I do actually, and he pulls out from this jacket. It's
Man.
very like hand carven and everything, but it's like a small chessboard.
You're such a nerd. I love it.
He looks at you, Vaughn. Nerd. Oh, like Henry.
Something like that. Someone who's
yeah.
very interested in something very esoteric. That's
Yes,
essentially
yeah,
what a nerd is.
Yeah.
May I say, I feel like the implication of you saying that you don't know him means that you probably already knew who I was.
Ooh.
I see everything that goes on in London.
You have been watching then. All right. I'll keep that in mind.
You guys
If we ever
friendly?
need...
You guys friendly?
I'm friendly with everyone. He is actually a very charming Nosferatu. He's ugly as fuck, but he has a very charismatic aura about him.
I second Cradle. If you ever need any work done, you know where to find me.
Alex, you get a text.
Yes. How gauche? Like, really? Right now? Okay.
It's from Gabriel, and it just says...
Of course it is. Of course it is. He would text during the... yes, okay.
It just says, I've lost Josh.
Why is this my problem? He's going to text back just really quick, like just irritated. Well, find him. like go find him.
Just back, like trying, but he did talk about a party very excitedly.
Not invited.
I told him that.
He's gonna stuff the phone in his pocket. He's not engaging in this conversation anymore. He's not doing it. He's going to go over to. Is it Elaine still guarding the door?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to say, look, there might be other interlopers, ones you might be even familiar with. Let's make sure that nobody without an invitation gets in, and that would be anybody that is hangs out in Brumley, for example.
She looks towards Scarlet and the other side of the room, and she just points to the corner of her eye, and Scarlet nods.
Yeah. I don't need Josh here. No. No, I've got one Malkavian already. I don't need another one. 2 in the same room, not so much.
So good.
Naomi, Regina grabs your arm and says, "We need to present the drinks to them." And she's kind of like waving towards servers who are like filled with like the trays filled with various concoctions.
Okay. Am I a server tonight?
No, you're just simply like presenting it.
Okay.
I'll follow you around. Don't worry. Let's.
Yeah.
She looks around the room and I don't know who's friendliest.
So she takes up the honor and proceeds to move her gracious presence to basically gesture to the table, I guess, but it's more like kind of like a semicircle, so you could kind of like move around the table as well. She puts on these glasses, more or less. It's not tinted, but it's enough to not like Naomi is a fairly charismatic person, but she doesn't want to communicate the kind of emotions that are currently going inside. All she can think of is they can sense the tree, they can sense the tree, they can sense the tree. And absolutely just fucking panicking on the inside. But
can you do a
voice...
composure subterfuge for me?
Okay.
to see how much on the inside this is.
Just out of character here, is it possible for Naomi to surge, to maybe give herself a little, because she's really trying to put this together, just as an option?
I was gonna blush in the bathroom, but that's obviously not an option as of right now. Something subterfuge?
Composure subterfuge. Or performance.
Okay. Which one is better? I don't think she's good at performance at all.
No, but you're pretty good at lying.
Yeah.
Do you want to rouse?
Yeah. Why did that close? Here we go. Composure. Should I do the rouse first?
Rousing success. You get 2 extra dice.
Your
Sweet.
blood's on your side.
Composure.
5. 5 is a pretty good roll. You think it's all in your head.
Yep.
At the moment, if people want to see through it, maybe they can, but at least you're keeping yourself composed, and the nervousness is not showing.
Okay.
You think
Alex is going to nod, like, doing a good job.
Yeah, she catches eyes. You can see just the horror in her eyes for a sweet second, but then like says in her head, she's like, "No, you are a Toreador. You are the Primogen. We got this." And she cracks at first, but basically was like, "Drinks for everyone," and then kind of gives Vaughn a wink.
when you say that, all the others, they look, but they don't look at the drinks. They look at all the humans.
We're referring to infusions that I myself have created. And he looks back at like the King of Shadow and is like, "Are you a Scotch or brandy man?"
You know, it's been a while, but I don't think I would say no to a whiskey.
Ooh, excellent choice. And he goes over, and they're like color coded,
Oh,
and
this-
he'll go over to one of the servers and then bring it over to him, and it's a nice, elegant sort of. It's more of like a something you would serve whiskey in, basically, and hands it over to him.
all the attention is on it. All the others are looking. They don't know what to expect.
Alex
don't
is
know.
going to get the picture here. He's going. This is a demonstration. It's meant to convince them that tonight they don't want the living, vessels. They want this. So it needs to be a good presentation right here.
Well, he sniffs it, and he takes a sip, gets a large smile on his face. You can see all the shark teeth in his mouth. And the others are looking impressed, at least for a moment. And I think the first one is to react is Arvin. As soon as she sees that he nods and recognizes the thing, she just goes up to the bar and grabs a bottle of something, opens it, and starts drinking. As she turns around, she looked very, very angry, but now she's smiling from ear to ear. She's waiting a moment, expecting something to happen. It does not. She's just nodding towards Vaughn in recognition and
He takes his
says,
hat off and does like a little bow
and it
to
seems like
another prince.
they're all kind of gathering around the service, but like taking various things, and it seems like, I mean, they're kind of falling on their ass that they can taste this. The one's not doing anything at the moment is the three Archons and the Justicar. And Roger.
Alex will step forward and just say to, the gathered, those who are gathered and partaking, a taste of things to come in this new London.
Arvin says, "This is a fantastic invention."
I'm glad you're enjoying it. We are all about bringing in new things here.
Vaughn, you see Scarlet is smiling. But it's forced. You think?
Yeah, he cuts his eyes over at her. He just kind of gives a little sheepish smile.
JK, from next to you, you just hear like a very hoarse voice. Like someone who's been smoking way too many cigarettes. It just says, "Child." And when you look, you see Roger standing next to you.
JK will just do a tiny little bow. Good evening, Prince.
The thing in your domain, your creation?
Yes,
I'm impressed.
I do recommend to take a step back. It seems to take hold in anyone who gets too close to it.
I'm good. But we need to put it away.
If you have a solution, that would be lovely.
I have a few thoughts, but I would like to weaponize it.
I have several samples already.
Anything you could provide would be very rewarded.
Well, I have a morgue full if necessary.
That is good to know. It's quite impressive what you have done. I assume it's with Albert's help?
No,
Even more impressive.
the releasing him was the catalyst that caused it.
Oh, I see. How is he?
He seems to be doing well.
Good. It's been a few centuries, but I try to keep my eyes on our people.
Good to hear.
You just see the yellow eyes, and he's kind of squinting at you, like he's trying to figure something out. You're not lying or anything right now, right?
Nope.
Nope. we have to talk at some point, I think.
That would probably be wise, yes.
Figure out what to do with this marvelous creation.
That it is. The easiest way to stop it would probably just be to nuke the entire city.
Maybe a bit overkill. Try not to cough on any of the servers, he says, and just walks away. JK, can you do a composure stamina for me? Trying to hold in the coughs.
Her. Do I have anything I can add to this?
You can rouse.
I was gonna say fortitude, but that doesn't help. I'll rouse, yeah.
Hardly gain. Good thing there's plenty of blood on
I was
tap.
about to say, good thing that's not a problem tonight.
You said composure stamina, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I add 1 dice for that?
Two.
Rouse? Two. Lovely. I'm gonna need that.
Five. Five is
not
good enough.
terrible.
You're kind of
Not
like
terrible.
catching it in your throat every time you feel that there's like you go instead of but yeah, you're just making the motion and not opening your mouth. So
If it ends up being too bad, I'll go into the bathroom and just make a hole into my lung.
it's more like an annoying itch.
Okay, yeah. It's livable.
Before JK disappears, she obviously checks out everyone's attire and obviously see if they made dress code, and then makes eye contact with JK, looks to his chest, the flower, and then just like wide-eyed, and then just walks the other direction because she would know the language.
Thinking here, Arwen is having a time of her life because she has not tasted alcohol in 2,000 years, and apparently it's very impressive. Chunhei seems to be following her around like a lapdog, so she's just keeping an eye on everyone and making sure that Arwen is having a good time. She seems about your age, you think. She's not a powerhouse like the rest of them. Arthur is trying to find a table where he can set up the chessboard, and Sylvester sees it and says, "It's a good idea. Why don't we have competitions?" And looks around the room.
Alex is gonna let them do that. Anything to keep these people entertained and preoccupied, he's all for. He's going to. Is Naomi with Arwen? Is there a proximity there or not?
Arwen is at the bar, so it's up to Naomi.
So Naomi is trying to present as defensive as possible socially. Internally, she's like, this is like a massive social experiment. She's never met half these people. She doesn't know how to approach. This is like the massive internal dialogue. And she doesn't even really know where she is. She's kind of in like a psychological daze because between the internal attack of the Tremere criticizing her inner Toreador, being like, everything has to be perfect, aesthetic, everything. And then, yeah, she's kind of zoned out, like even dissociated. She doesn't, usually Victor would ultimately be the one to ground her, but he's not present. But she obviously recognizes that Alex is a familiar presence. So if you could ever get her gaze, so be it.
That's exactly what he was going to do. He's going to come over to her and just very, I don't know if you want me to roll for this or not, exercising his composure and and basically he, to soothe Naomi and reassure her that she is doing everything perfectly right now, that it is 10 out of 10. He is very pleased with her performance so far, and everything is going off perfectly so far. So he's going to say thank you. You're doing a fantastic job. Try, to enjoy yourself a little bit, but
So first you startle her. She kind of jumps and then looks into your direction.
Yeah.
And in kind of like just consumes what you're saying and kind of tries to drown out the internal monologue with your mantras.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
is like nodding along, being like, yes, 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 like as if it was like Rocky, like you're training her.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Yeah, he's just like, he's using the most persuasive kind of like
Yeah.
soothing tones as possible to basically say you are doing fantastic job. Everything is just fine.
Yeah, she makes eye contact in the way where she's like, if anything, I do anything embarrassing, just wipe my mind. It's fine. And then she catches on to your words of like, oh, you should enjoy yourself. So she kind of like toddles along to the alcohol and just like takes a glass.
That's right.
And then just still listening to what Alex has to say. Also your throne, that owl is this big statue of an owl is kind of like overtaking his throne. So
Yeah.
she kind of points to it being like, what do you think?
He's just gonna be like, just,
Good.
it was he couldn't have he didn't even imagine that it could have been that well done. It's like, it's regal, it's imposing, it's symbolic.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. Just like,
Sweet. She looks at you. She looks at you trying to like analyze your mind, and like you could tell there's like 600 things in the back. She kind of points to Cradle and just being like, kind of like, what do you think? Like, give me the Coles notes on this.
Just for are you playing chess, Cradle?
Oh, if I can. I mean, I don't want to steal this guy away from Vaughn, but a man offered a game.
When Vaughn handed him like the drink and kind of did like, and he liked it and stuff, he's like, well, it's like, please enjoy the party. And then I kind of gave Cradle a look, and then I sort of kind of, respectfully backed away.
Hey, you too, man. Yeah.
Alex is always keeping one eye on that Malkavian because he is new, he is a surprise, he is an unknown. So just like one eye, like right there, like, okay. He's had only one other Malkavian in his whole existence here. He knows that they're a little off, and it's just like, okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
So that being said, as they're having that dialogue, Naomi remembers something and goes over to Vaughn and more or less says, with the new stash that he concocted of the highest caliber, that quality is definitely an invention. That's not something any of these people may or may not have experienced. That being said, she just more or less like, just be careful on who you ultimately give this to, but is kind of like trying to be aware of her surroundings without using too much heightened senses, but also is like kind of just generally observing every detail of socially what's going on between Cradle and Vaughn and the Nosferatu.
Yeah, believe me, I'm trying to be careful as possible because I was expecting like okay, that's pretty good. I wasn't expecting this. And he's like looking around, and I imagine like the Aaron woman is like just downing it. I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know if I'm gonna get abducted before the end of the night or something. So, but we'll see.
You are our what do you call it? In-house seductive expert, I guess. So be careful on that. But that being said, yeah, just these people have a lot of armor.
I got you.
And then just kind of walks away, toddles away to whoever might want to approach her. She kind of feels a little bit more grounded now, so if anyone wants to talk to her, she's open.
A few things happen.
Okay.
Cradle, first of all, I need a wits intelligence just to see how well you do.
And
This game of chess. Just
I
how
was thinking
impressive
about
are
this.
you?
What I was trying to do is just completely, like, I haven't played for 100 years or whatever, and just try and lull him into a full sense of security. And I was wondering if I can just kind of be literally chatting shit at the same time and get his guard down and then see where the game goes and go for intelligence subterfuge.
Okay.
To try and just kind of like throw him off his scent. If not, that's fine. But either way, I'm also going to do a little rouse.
It'd be interesting here. This is Arthur.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'd be interesting here if what his opposing role is.
It's literally a difference of one dice. So it's not much, but it's more the way that he plays chess is different.
I like it.
Well, just do a roll. I'm not gonna give you a difficulty right now. I just want to see how well you do.
Oh, okay.
Rousing success. Nice.
The beast
Bunch of
sleeps.
dice. Is it intelligence wits or intelligence?
Well, you can do your intelligence subterfuge if you want to, like, bullshit your way through it.
Oh, absolutely. Haven't played in a while. Let's go.
8 with a crit.
Whoa. Fucking right. That's the highest roll so far, I think.
He's on his game tonight.
Can I let him
Yeah.
win?
Well, you're not letting him win. He's played chess for 2,000 years.
Okay, great. That's fine. I really want him to win.
But it's impressive. But you are distracting him a couple of times, and that usually does not happen. And he every time you say something where he's kind of like his mind is taking off from the game, he looks at you, he smiles, and says, "Very impressive." But he's constantly like trying to get your attention back to the game.
Yeah, I mean, zoos are like religion nowadays. Like, it's just like they face the same problem. It's all about the illusion of freedom, and he'll just like sacrifice a knight that's threatening to do all kinds of potential forks and whatever, and they're just man, I haven't played in so long, you know. But
it seems like Arthur's just happy to be playing, because he is used to winning. But it's more about the game itself and having a nice conversation, and you're giving him that. He is smiling from ear to ear with his very disgusting shark teeth.
I just be like, man, you're a true man, you know. You want two things, right? Danger and play.
And
Every man
information.
wants that.
Let me see here. Is anyone paying attention to the people in the corners? I'm talking like Scarlett and Elaine and Nathaniel here.
Vaughn was going to try and talk to Scarlett if he could at some point.
As you're walking towards her, you see she's gesturing, but behind you she's looking at Elaine through the hall, and she's just pointing, and Elaine starts to walks towards the bar, where I don't know, Arvin is there for sure. Is anyone else at the bar area?
After he talks with Naomi, Alex is going to try to engage Arwen, just to kind of like see how, you know, it seems her demeanor has improved. And I think you mentioned before that it's at least somewhat obvious, so I'm happy to roll, that she is a little, how shall we put this, less
Oh, she's
less down the spiral, as it were, to potential elder undeath here. So like,
she's having
Alex,
a drinking competition with herself.
yeah, and he wants to kind of like get in the way, slow it down a little bit, but also like he feels that with the fact that she's closer in proximity potentially to him, that there might be a rapport that might be established there between among princes, younger ones, so yeah. He's a bit of politicking, a bit of congeniality there, a bit of
She
carousing.
looks at you this time more with a smile, and she says, "You should be very proud of your servant." And she looks towards Vaughn.
I am. He is
And then
kindred of many, many interesting talents.
he's
It's really a treasure.
You hear footsteps, and then a voice next to you. The retirement party was coming along nicely. And you see Josh. He's just appeared out of nowhere, and Elaine is approaching him. And Scarlett is looking dead on him. And he's just looking around for a glass or something behind the bar.
Alex is going to snap his fingers and motion to a server, to provide this particular new arrival with something to quench his thirst.
Elaine
And
stops.
he's looking at the same time at Elaine like why did this happen? Why is he here? What's going on? I thought I told you. So yeah.
Scarlett is one with the auspex, and she pointed him out, but she is walking towards him and just putting a hand on the shoulder and looking at you.
Yeah.
You want to remove. And she's pulling him along, and he's just looking around confused. What's going on here? I thought the party was here.
Yes, Josh. We'll talk another time.
But I have
Can Naomi
my
slip in
best suit.
for a minute? Can Naomi slip in for a second?
I don't see why not.
Yeah. She does her best to more or less like try to really kind of get to the core of what's really going on here, because being like, oh god, what can I say? Josh, how you feeling tonight, bud? What's going on? It's nice to see you.
Are you gonna walk him towards the door? Are you gonna like kind of have this conversation while he's being escorted?
So from what she can kind of see from everyone's eyes, she wants to go into, yes, definitely somewhere in the sidelines, but near the entranceway where not a lot of other people, like the most distance she can get away with having to have a strict one-on-one. And she more or less gives you a nod. And
You got
so
it. Okay.
emotionally, she'd rather be in the sewers, but she's gonna try to handle the situation a little bit and just kind of see if there's any other motives or whatever.
That handled, Alex is going to turn back around to Arwen and continue their conversation.
Oh, she's... Seems like she's just sharing war stories. And it's kind of hard to get a word in. It sounds like she very much likes the sound of her own voice. She looks very monstrous. Humanity 3. This is the not being able to blush club. But she seems happy, but also super narcissistic.
He's going to play right into that. He is totally going to, he knows all about kindred egos and everything like that, but he's still hinged on the fact that this is someone who is at least younger, potentially swayable. That's what he's going for. He's going to be like, yeah, okay, this one, she came in upset. Now she's happy. That's a plus. Now we're going to continue working and stroking the ego there. And we're going to continue cajoling until, he's ready to seal a bargain with her, basically like, okay, yeah, you and me, we can work more together after this event, in a kind of beyond London way. He's networking. That's what Alex is doing here. He's networking, and he's using this event to advance his own agenda even beyond the city. So yeah.
As you're having that conversation, you're leading Josh away. He's kind of like, and Elaine is looking at you and saying, "You got this, or do you need me to kill him?"
I think I got this, but she knew the prince needed to have, because there were so many potential elders, like he needed the space to make sure he could be a proper host. She comes to the side, and I'll let you know if I need anything. And so she's promptly standing by a table.
But I thought the party was empty. Here. He's starting to shake a little bit.
Yeah, are you looking to relax, sweetheart? How are you? Like, we haven't seen in a while.
I just wanted to impress the prince. Everyone is so worried about him, and also there's the man on fire, the fireman, and the ancient in the basement, and now there's a crib here, and the retirement party and everything.
She recognizes one could be Victor. She recognizes that this is like, there is weird shit here that people could probably sense of some sort. She starts to get fucking nervous with him.
Realizing she may have bitten off more than she could chew here.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fortunately, it looks like people are deliberately ignoring him.
Yeah, and not taking him seriously, which is, it is what it is. She stands there.
The rose of blood looked scared. I don't know what to do.
And
then he starts to shake again. Well, am I not invited? Is this not a London thing?
Okay. How do I explain this? Your presence is always welcome to me. There's a block of time where we're, like, I guess a bomb going off, it's very delicate, right? So we need to make sure that stays as not tampered as possible. And then she's like looking around, kind of like snapping her fingers like she needs a fucking expert, either JK, Cradle, like someone to fucking see into this that like she's not capable of.
He says, but the man of embraces here, is this a clanist thing?
Ironically, no. See, there's anarchs here, and like she's trying to like give the shave off this thinnest piece of wood in this situation to not delicately deal with how delicate this entire process is. She kind of seems a little bit frustrated, but like she has like, I guess, a glass of wine and like, sweetheart, you drink, right? And hands it over to him with like the warmest, like loving, like, here's a beautiful gift for you, and kind of uses her. She's gotten in the motion of being able to know her body well enough to use celerity without using celerity, and kind of like graciously, like, she can't find JK, I guess, for whatever reason.
Oh, he is around. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cradle JK, are any of you approaching as she's like,
Yeah.
Can do.
So
else wants to take it, they can.
Yeah, JK will approach as Naomi seems frantic.
Yeah, a little bit, but she wants another Malkavian to also kind of like embody this.
Sure.
So it's not a clanist thing, it's just like a political thing.
Absolutely. See how there's humans and then there's vampires, and then we always there's possibly more. We don't know what the more is.
Well, how can you have a parliament without more parties? And this is a party.
I agree. I will talk to Vaughn and get that situated, because I agree. Anarch's parties are absolutely where it's at. I agree with you.
He looks towards JK and Cradle and says, The necromancer and the crypt man were approaching. More trouble ahead. And you come over and hear the last part of that.
Sleep well with your bad decisions, do you?
You're the third voice.
I think this isn't a clan thing. You know, we're all just people.
So it's personal.
Yeah, everything's personal with these people. You know? Look, if we dance right now, what do you think they'll think?
He starts to sway a little bit.
Yeah, see?
I don't know.
Yeah. What's wrong?
Naomi's just staring at both of them intensely, being like, what did I just do? But like,
Elaine is
as if
still
this was a
staring
social
daggers
experiment.
at him.
Yeah.
Did I activate premonition focus on Josh?
Yes.
Okay.
Might yield some results.
Anything.
Not with a 1.
I'll reroll.
3 of those?
Sure. 3 successes.
3. I need something specific you're honing in on. Is it the ancient in the basement thing, or like what are you trying to figure out here?
Crypt Keeper. He said Crypt Keeper. Alright, as I got there.
Well, you go out for a second, you see you guys, and you just hone in on crypt. Like a crypt, not a crypt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Can I roll something in this situation? I have no idea how to handle this. Streetwise?
Listen, Josh.
I don't know. It's Josh is having 3 different conversations at the moment.
Josh,
Seriously?
it's not that we don't want you here. It's just that Alex preferred not to have the anarchs around right now, I think.
Fine, I'll leave. I think it's the first time you heard Josh like angry or disappointed.
JK, I just lied to him. Saying that there was anarchs. Can I persuade
He's
Josh?
oh, he's
Sorry?
bowing his head and walking very slowly towards the door, looking
no,
very
I'll-
defeated.
I'll grab his hand and continue to dance.
He smiles.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. See? This is much better than movement, right? I mean, this is no Stravinsky. This is Bach, you know? Yeah.
I like the other man with the mind. You don't have the mind.
Mine is definitely worse. I mean, your friends here are so beautiful. I mean, point like straight at Naomi. It's like, and you are so smart.
He straightens his shirt a bit.
Yeah.
It looks like tie-dye. But with a suit above, a black suit, pinstriped. Does not match.
She looks at him just like kind of horrified. I'm like, you reached like BO like not even 24 hours ago. And more or less Vaughn she's going through like the itinerary in her mind and being like, okay, well, Vaughn has something, we do have music, ballroom dancing, I guess, and whatever dance they're doing, I guess, is fine. And she's like trying to mentally take control of like anything internally. As long as the prince is not too disturbed, I guess we're doing okay. But she keeps an eye on Cradle and
Elaine is staring daggers at the whole situation, but it does not seem like the others are paying attention to what's going on. They're mostly talking with each other at the moment, and Alex is talking with Arvin. The Herald, or the Cult of Mithras, is kind of hanging out with himself, and Arthur is trying to get people to play chess against him. But all of a sudden, Josh goes completely stiff. His eyes go white, like you've seen with JK, just for like a second, and then he turns around like a trance and starts to walk towards the door, mumbling to himself, "The ancient in the basement is here. The ancient in the basement is here," and then disappears with obfuscate unless people have sensed the unseen.
Sense the unseen.
Sense the unseen.
Can I put two and two together? Is this the Morgan's husband?
I think you're the only one who can put two and two together.
Yeah, probably.
So it seems we may have a new guest arriving.
Who do you say that to?
Right.
Just outwards. Josh vanished.
Well, he's not directly from it, but as soon as people can't see, because he can't do it when people are looking at him.
Yeah.
It's like, as soon as he turns the corner, he's gonna disappear unless someone follows him.
I think we might get another elder. Older than most of the ones in here.
And assuming I can't, can any of us sense anything from this? Not necessarily with Josh. I'm sure there's an aura of some sort. Like, we're gonna rock this.
I think there's enough of an aura from everyone in the room.
Sorry, just a moment.
Cradle, so Naomi actually looks at Cradle and being like, "You got this." She doesn't know how to handle it. And like, this is a test. Like, you better handle this. And like, she didn't even do introductions before. You barely know who she is as a person, but she knows she has eyes on you. And she doesn't necessarily run to find Alex, but she tries to keep tabs on figuring out where, like, she just assumes Josh was talking about someone in the room. She has no idea what else is going on.
Oh, JK said this out loud. Like, as Josh walked away.
I imagine Alex just sitting with Armin just nodding.
Yeah.
And trying to look very, very interested.
Yeah. He's totally working her stories and ego, just like, it's the easiest job in the world for him to just kind of nod and look interested and, make her feel completely special. That's just his eyes and attention. He doesn't break, focus and that sort of thing. Like, she's telling of her life. This is the first time somebody's listened to her for a while. Like, he's like, tell me more. Oh, that's so interesting. Things like that. He's going to keep like feeding her the line, keep her talking and things like that. But he is also, of course, given that JK has made a kind of announcement here, as far as I know,
that was just not loud, but just to the people that were right there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So not loud enough to the room. Okay.
No.
All right. Yeah,
Can I just relay the information to Alex and like do it like whisper and kind of go up to him when he's present with this other person?
Yeah, and he will totally given that Naomi is part of his court.
Armin does not stop talking.
No, he's like, come on over here, like, tell me what you gotta tell me, and he's just gonna be like, yeah, you know what, that's so interesting, wow, and so he's doing both things right now. He's like in full Prince mode,
Yeah, so Naomi's like, she tries to communicate to him as subtly as possible. She doesn't want anyone in the room to basically hear, being like, what defense do we possibly have? And then she looks to him, points at JK, and like, as if war is about to break out, like shit's gonna hit the fan.
Arvin says, a good defense is all about a good offense. If you just fucking hit them hard before they even get to make their plans, then you fucking eradicate the threat. And then she starts to come up with examples of how that is done.
It's so clear that you've been involved in things like this and you've successfully managed it. Your tactical prowess is beyond question. And he's just like lathering it up. And then he's looking to Abigail, right? And he's basically going to be like, okay, Justicar, like Dread Knights, like this, if this is gonna happen, he is going to be like, he's going to find her first, and he's going to make sure we're on top of it before it ever happens, just like our dear Bruja Prince here is advising. So he's going to be like, I'd love to continue to listen, but I am afraid something has just come up. I will be right back. Please excuse me, and please continue to enjoy the vintage. And then, like, he will step up, and it's truly been a pleasure. I shall return.
So,
and it's like, yeah.
Naomi actually wants to grab Alex and just shake the shit out of him and be like she can't even muster the actual, like, go! Like,
he's gonna he's not, he knows what Naomi wants him to do, but it's a matter of optics, right? Alex cannot be phased by this information. It is just one of those things where, like, he is not going to rush. He is not going to, he knows that she wants him to, but he's just like, nope, we're going to take this nice and slow. Everything is just fine, and it's like, and then he's going to walk with her, but he's going to find the Justicar. That's where he's going now, with this information. Because
Alex is moving incredibly slowly. JK will go over to Arwen
and listen to her things.
Yeah.
Before we go to the Justicar, Vaughn, you're getting to Scarlet. She's just standing there, and it looks like, well, she sees you, but it looks like she's on watch duty because she's constantly scanning her eyes, or the room with her. You see her red eyes are moving very fast around the room. And when you get close enough, she just says, Vaughn?
Scarlet, how are you? It's been a while, and he hands her a glass. It's not infused with any alcohol. It's just literally just her tea that he had brewed a batch of. He just hands it to her like, here.
She looks at it for a moment, gets distracted, and below the veil you see a blood tear, which is quickly removed. And then her stoic face returns. She just takes the tea and takes a sip of it. I'm glad you can use my invention.
Yes, thank you for teaching it to me. I added my own little zest to it, but would you like me to tell people that you were the originator of it?
I don't mind. I don't care. I live to serve.
Oh.
What's going on here? Oh, just a bit of hunger gain.
What?
How is the Anarchs? And you hear contempt in her voice, which is, again, weird.
I don't spend too much time around them, but they're a little concerned about tonight's festivities. So,
as they should be. Just lucky
you're so different.
One of the elders does not suggest a fox hunt. I'm different, yes. I went through training.
Training? Is that why your eyes are the way they are?
I had to remove myself from the burdens of humanity to do my job.
What do you mean?
I went through a process. I can't really discuss it, but I consumed a few people to get where I am.
And Vaughn looks distraught at hearing that. And
I remember feeling quite sad that night. And I don't know why. She's still kind of looking past you, at everything that's going on as she's talking.
Well, and kind of like reading her like instinctively, he's like, well, I hope you have a good time tonight.
I'm here to work.
All the more reason to have a good time. And he gives her like a little nod.
She smiles for a moment. Genuinely.
And he just kind of like, with a sad look on his face, just turns around and walks away.
Before you do, she looks at the Justicar, who is, well, looking at Alex at the moment, and hesitates, but she touches you just for a moment and nods and gets a sad look in her eyes for just a moment. It looks like she's trying to reach out, but Abigail is standing like 5 meters away, so she can't.
And he just says like, well, you know where to find me. And he walks away.
Alex, you get to Justicar Craven.
Yes.
She's just looking at you.
He says, we have an uninvited guest arriving who is a potential threat, as it were. He's like in her ear, like basically like this is low tones, like you don't want anybody else to hear. He's like,
the music is covering most things because it's very loud compared to whispers.
Yeah. New arrival. Don't know who. Not on the list. So I need you to be ready.
She points to Nathaniel. Talk to him.
This might require a concerted effort, but I will speak to Nathaniel about this as well. He's making it very clear to her that no, this isn't lower pay grade bullshit. This is top tier DEFCON 5, potential nuclear bomb type stuff. So, he doesn't want to be passed down the line. He's going to make it clear to her, eye to eye, like, I'm bringing this to you because right now you're top level here, and this is going to affect all of us if it doesn't get handled before it starts. And then he's going to go to Nathaniel.
She registers it.
Yeah.
And then just snaps her fingers.
Yeah.
And almost like they're all entranced. Nathaniel, Scarlett, and Elaine, they just look at her and start to walk towards her. But you couldn't possibly hear.
Exactly. Yeah. Alex is going to nod and then, communicate that information to the rest of them as well. That this is, they need to be ready. That if they take care of this before it happens, then everything will be just fine. But we have a situation that is developing potentially. So
she says, Nathaniel, Elaine, take a walk. Scarlett, keep your eyes out. We can't have it appear like there's anything wrong. They simply just not. And Elaine and Nathaniel, they leave together like soldiers would. The other knights are still standing in the room, and she's just there. Scarlett's eyes go white, and she starts swaying just a little bit and mumbling to herself.
Can Cradle do this, mate?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's specifically going on, and I quote, "He is another body, the demon man."
Well, you have a bit of insight.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I know who the demon man is, but still. And the roll I accidentally did was a rouse check for the premonition.
Mm.
As well, if I can.
8. 8 is good.
Eight is good.
8. Oh shit.
Oh my goodness, they were like all successes.
You see a room with a shadowy figure in the center, surrounded by 12 sarcophagi. But they're a clock. One of them is open. You see 2 people you haven't seen before, a white-haired woman and a man. You can see his face, but you see a demon mask on top of it, even though he's not wearing it. They're not really. She's just telling him to be ready, and then they open one of the sarcophagus, where a man falls out of it. The man with the demon mask, he chews through the incorporeal mask. You get the feeling the mask is figurative, and you know what this is. He's trying to consume us all, but then you see something goes wrong. The battle is lost, and the guy on the floor takes over the demon man's body. You see the white-haired woman, her face becomes full of terror, and then she is pulled through shadows. The man with the demon mask, he looks around the room. He speaks in a language you don't understand, and then you're pulled back to reality.
Yeah, he begins to dance even more, just a little, and there's just this sense of just a little bit of nervousness in the dancing now. Like maybe it's a way of coping or something, but he's just kind of moving to back as well as he can, and like the smile just grows a little bit wider. Yeah. And he's just going to be like, because JK is still there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've walked over to Arvin.
Is anyone still with him, or is he just dancing alone at this point then?
I think he might be.
So he's like, he closed his eyes, did a premonition with some people around him, opens his eyes and there's no one there. He just kind of, man, he's a demon man. Not a smart kid. And he's just gonna just wander a little bit, follow his nose, look for trouble.
Well, there's trouble in the room if you're looking for it. But as you're wandering around, I don't know if anyone is keeping an eye on Cradle, but he seems to be having a really good time. He's dancing, he's just like swaying to the music. Alex, you're finished with your conversation, everything leaves, and JK Arvin looks up for a second and says, "Excuse me," and then she just leaves, walks towards Alex. You see Roger doing the same thing, along with Ricard. So kind of the princes are gathering. They all walk up and they kind of just stare at each other, and then you feel, all of you in the room, an intense sense of dread. These 3 psychopaths are activating Daunt. Alex, do you want to follow along?
Yeah. We're gonna do this. Yeah.
It's just for like 2 seconds.
Yeah. He's absolutely playing the Prince game here. So yeah.
Just do a roll to see how
Let's
effective.
look fucking scary. Yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and this is any intimidation rolls, I guess. So we're gonna go with, I guess, manipulation and intimidation.
It's fine.
Okay. I'm gonna rouse because why not? There's plenty of. I won't need it. All right. So, yes, exactly. So manipulation. Going to add 4. No, 5. I think, right? Yeah.
4.
Yomi's frantically.
That is
with-
that is not
Okay.
as impressive as I want it to be. So I am going to willpower and get nothing. So yeah, 4 successes.
Bradford will allow you to willpower again.
Excellent. Bradford for the save. All right.
This is important to Bradford.
It is. Yes.
No, you're meant to be, man.
Okay. That is well, that's 5. That's a little better. Yeah.
It's just for a moment, but
Yeah.
you're playing along,
Yeah.
which is good. They
Yeah.
stop it. The whole room goes quiet, obviously, from this thing. And then all of 3 of them, they just start laughing maniacally. Like they're all in on the same joke.
He's gonna start laughing too.
And then the music starts playing again.
they're just all laughing. Yeah. It's just like, you know what, he's playing. It's like the best joke in the fucking world. Yeah.
They're all looking at each other.
Yeah.
And then Arvin says, I like him. We can work with that. He might be young, but
Yeah.
great potential. And Ricard, he says, oh, you don't even know the half of it. And Roger's just, well, you still can't see his face because of the mask.
Oh yeah.
But you think there's a smile. He would be smiling, wouldn't he? He's laughing.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And Alex is just like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, he's like, yeah, this is great. This is just fantastic. You know, this is the best night of his life. It's all coming off. There's some kind of dreadful presence. They all just showed off. It's fantastic. Princes among princes. So yeah.
The night goes along. People are having a good time. Vaughn, if you want to, Arthur would really like to play chess with him because you played chess with his child. The spy master.
All right. Of course.
Just going along with that game. Kind of people are still mingling and everything. But at some point, Ricard, he at least tries to get you alone, Alex.
Yes.
And says, I'm going to be staying longer than the others. I would really like to see it when they're gone.
And so you shall.
Bows his head. Again, just a little bit. Smiling.
Yeah, that's right. He's nodding back. This is very important.
And then leave to not create too much attention.
Mm-hmm. Perfect.
We're nearing the end of the session. Is there anything people would like to do with all these people in the room? Because you might never get the chance again.
I'm trying to remember. Was I supposed to do like a performance of some kind? I'm trying to remember.
You still have not done an illusion this session, and I'm wondering why.
Well, I'm debating. I'm like, I'll be honest with you. He's like looking around. He's like reading the room, and he's like, these people are fucking dangerous. I don't like. am I allowed in Elysium to use my powers? Is that
Do the
okay?
power
Like,
rogue again.
I was gonna do the Balrog. I was gonna have him fight the T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
It seems like nobody has any issues with disciplines at the moment. They're using them freely all over the people having premonitions and using dawns and celerity to move around fast.
I mean, you can always check in with Alex just to, double check. But like, is it my moment? Like this is. So
and he'll do that after the King of Shadows completely wipes the floor with Vaughn. It's complete child's play to this man. Vaughn will go up to Alex. He's like, "Oh, I remember we had discussed me performing. Would you like me to do something for the people here?"
If you would. And like to him, it's like, okay, this has all gone so well. Vaughn, you're up. Show me what you can do. No pressure.
And he goes up. If there's like a little stage area, and he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight you're going to see." Oh, what is that? And then just like. That's like the.
Oh my goodness!
The Balrog comes out and it's roaring, and then the T-Rex from Jurassic Park comes out. Is it right if I roll for this?
Yes, just to see how impressive it is and how.
Surge.
I'm surging this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do 2 rouse checks. What?
Go big.
Hunger game.
Wow, here we go.
You just hear the beast laughing in your head.
This is the Vaughn I know. This is it.
It's gonna be good.
He's gonna get hungry.
So then we do that. My hallucinogens are in my system. So I get a 1 modifier to that. And then would awe do anything? Or no, should I not use awe?
No,
That's not very strong.
You can't stack.
I can't stack. Okay.
Oh, you get 3 extra dice.
I get 3 extra?
Yeah, 2 for the rouse and 1 for the drugs.
Oh yes, rest. Yes. This one's for all the damn marbles.
Yes.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
My god.
For the audience, that was a messy crit.
Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna willpower it too. Let's keep going. I'm just curious.
You're just gonna double down on it.
Yeah.
Vaughn,
So
you can double fist. Just have blood in your hand and just fucking roll until you got the highest. You're good.
So I'm gonna re-roll 3, the 2 2s and the 1.
You don't want to re-roll the 10.
No, I don't.
No. He's doubling down on the messy crit. That's what he's doing right now.
I want to add to it. I want to add to the.
This is it. This is how it's all going to go sideways.
Yeah.
I have a new ground level appreciation for the word panache. Like this is gonna.
So 10 plus a critical. 10 with a critical.
More than a 10.
And yeah.
That's.
What is it? Oh my god, you're right.
That's another 0.
As Vaughn goes up on stage as if he was a DJ ready to rip his best mix he's ever done in his whole fucking life that no one has ever seen before.
That's 11, right?
That's 12.
12.
Naomi grabs the skull drink and just chugs the whole thing. Straight face. I'm gonna be on. She just wants to be as high as possible. Enjoy the show. That's it.
So Vaughn goes up, and he brings up a chair. He goes up on the stage. He's like, "Hello, everybody. Tonight, so great to have you. We're gonna put on a little performance. To put it to you bluntly, this is something that I guarantee you're probably not ever going to see again. And it's because I'm not the one doing it. So, and he kind of looks around the room, makes eye contact with a couple of people. Without further ado, and then that's when just fucking Balrog comes in with a flaming sword, and then the T-Rex from Jurassic Park roaring at it, and they're fighting each other, and it's intense. There's music playing for some reason from somewhere, who knows? And Vaughn is feigning he's afraid, but it's theatrical, and he's crawling away, trying to get away while they're fighting each other, throwing each other into walls.
It's a messy crit. So I just have one question for you, Vaughn. Who's your least favorite person in the room right now?
Oh.
Ooh. I gotta think about this one real
Well,
quick.
shit.
I just want to know who it's charging.
Well, they're supposed to fight each other. The two apparitions.
Supposed to.
Right.
Oh no!
Messy crit. Yeah.
Oh no! Okay, let me
Some
see.
nice intentions you got there. It'd be a shame if somebody. Yeah.
This is good. All right. Who is the one woman I don't like who was mean to me the very first session? I'm trying to remember. Is Adrienne there?
Oh, fuck.
Adrienne?
I totally forgot about her. Yeah, she's there.
Yeah.
She is
Fuck.
there.
I have not forgotten. She's the one who made fun of my little scorpion back in the day. Like, Anyway,
I think she's been
yeah.
quiet because she does not know where Scott is.
so yeah, and I have laid it out, and
So a T-Rex and a Balrog.
yes,
Walk into a bar.
walk into a bar.
Well, they're supposed to fight, but they appear and they're very, very, very real. So real you can touch them, and they're just rushing through the room. There's plenty of mortals in here, by the way. Rushing towards Adrian, and this is real. To her it is. With 12, it's very real. So, I don't
What have
know.
I done?
What is her reaction? At least toughness. I guess she is trying to avoid this. Let's see. What would I think willpower damage would be an illusion, right?
Do you have like fortitude, or does she?
my
I don't
Oh,
know.
she has
It's
toughness.
gonna rattle you.
I would just assume it was straight terror frenzy.
Yeah, exactly. I think, yeah, that's the thing. She's just running out of the room very fast, shrieking, and you see like tears of blood appear because she can't keep her composure anymore.
Yeah.
And then you come back to it, Vaughn.
Oh no! Now I feel kind of bad.
How do all the elders react to the fire?
They're clapping. They're just nodding
And then,
at
unbeknownst
the
to
display of power. The only one who's not reacting to anything in here is Roger and Abigail. They're stone fucking faced.
that makes sense. That tracks, honestly. And so while they're doing that, everyone's kind of distracted by them fighting each other. Vaughn had drunk the spider potion, and so he's on the ceiling,
Okay.
and no one can see him. And then he just kind of like drops down, and like raven wings sprout from his back as he slowly goes down into the middle of the room, and the Balrog and the T-Rex finish like with roaring at each other, and then they just turn into two tigers that flank him, and then he just bows to everybody.
They're clapping. Really like.
Yes. Alex is going to do a quick scan to see what everybody else's reaction
Well, the
is.
mortals are completely
Notice
fucking
Adrian
terrified.
Screaming and just, and then as soon as he sees them clapping, he's going to go. yeah, so bravo. Yeah.
And Vaughn picks up a drink and he just goes like does like the Great Gatsby thing to Alex, like
Yeah.
They're acknowledging and they're commenting, Alex, that you have the best gesture.
Yeah.
He makes strings. He makes illusions. He's fantastic. You have to keep him on staff.
Of course.
He's not even getting paid to do this.
in some way, shape, or form, Vaughn has signed his death warrant in some way. I don't know why. I
Let's
don't
give
know
it to
how.
Vaughn here. He's just gonna like another round of applause for our beautiful performer.
As Naomi hears that, she's laid on the floor. She
The
was
drugs
like,
does not work.
"No,
They don't.
Why?
Won't try.
I only got 2 successes on it to bring about.
They taste horrible though.
I am so sorry.
that's fine."
All of my fortune went into what I just did just now. That was it. I'm done.
Let's just say there was enough placebo effect. She's laying on the ground. She was vibrating because of this trans-sourced Rex fucking like legs just running through the fucking place, and then just puts up a thumbs up, and that's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Cradle's gonna go find a private room to change his underwear. Yep, that's blood.
Oh no.
Nearing the end of the night, I think Roger and Sylvester are the first to leave because they have the longest to travel, along with Arvin. I think all actually the Cult of Mithras is leaving together. People slowly going out, they're commenting, the display of Vaughn, the drinks, everything is gone actually fantastic in their mind. And you're left with you guys, Regina, God knows where Adrian is, Nathaniel and Elaine, they come back at some point and they just like clarify that nothing is here or threatening. And then Regina, she gets a very, very worried look on her face, like she knows what is about to happen. And the Justicar just looks at the Dread Knights, then to all the kind, and then says, kill them all. And they do, very rapidly. It's like time is moving slow, and they're just splattered all over the room. And you see like just a hint of a smile on the Justicar. Nathaniel is looking like if he could vomit, he would. Does not bother Elaine, does not bother Scarlet. And
JK coughs.
finally can let the cough out after like 8 hours. And she just looks at you, Alex, and says, thank you for a delightful night. And then they leave in a flash of lightning.
How many people just died?
About 20
Yeah.
staffers, and you're just left with like all this to clean.
Alex is just gonna finish off his glass and be like, well,
You didn't do it. You didn't expect
exactly,
it, so I'm
yeah.
not gonna stain you guys, but it is a horrible visage
Yeah.
to, I think, everyone but JK.
that's called old school masquerade enforcement. Yeah. Yeah.
Wouldn't it
think I need
happen
to
like the two tigers that were next to him just like fizzle out immediately, and he just like with his hands at his side, just like this look on his face, like looking at all the corpses. Like,
I mean, Vaughn and Cradle are probably the most affected visually right now,
Yeah.
because their humanity ate. I
Yeah.
mean, this is sickening
My
to
man.
you guys. And
yeah,
I mean, Naomi and Alex, it's also like, yeah, this is disgusting, but you've I don't know, you've seen death before. But
I hung around JK enough times.
JK is just, well, you can react however you want. But Cradle and Vaughn, you are traumatized by this.
Yeah.
I believe I have another house guest, so I think I need to leave. Good luck with the cleaning, though.
Completely unfazed.
Yeah.
Alex reaches out and stops JK. Wait a minute. You're the keeper.
Correct. But unless you want another elder unleashed on London, I have to go.
I have questions. Another elder?
Morgan's husband. He should have
Okay.
arrived by now, I think.
Were you going to tell me about this at some point?
I mean, I tried to tell Naomi, but she just waddled away. And then she spasmed on the floor, so I didn't think it was a good time.
Take care of the elder, JK, and then we'll talk about this later.
Have fun with the cleanup. And JK walks out.
Darius appears. He looks shocked at the room. Pinches his nose for a moment. I'll take care of it, sir.
Thank you.
Without mortal eyes. The gargoyle is gone.
Thank you.
And Vaughn and Cradle, you probably don't hear that, but Naomi, you can't help but wonder what gargoyle. What?
Yeah.
Vaughn and Cradle, I just want to know what's your reaction to this? Can you even be in the room?
You have to be.
Vaughn
Have to be in the room.
Vaughn has seen a scene like this before, and what's scary to him is not only how callous and quick it was, but how suddenly this looks a lot like a scene he saw in a long time ago in a very far away place.
A little
he
bit
just
of
sort of
World War PTSD.
Yeah. Like he has a vision of a massacre that happened in Burma where the Japanese killed many of his comrades working the railway, and how it was just kind of messy and horrific. And he sort of just kind of takes the top hat off, and he just feels, you can see in his face, he feels like an idiot wearing what he's wearing, and just kind of takes his coat off and puts it over whoever is closest to him.
Regina says, "Thank God we won't see them for another 100 years.
Couldn't agree more.
Unless we really fuck up."
Right. And Alex is going to go over to Vaughn, because he knows him a little better, and say, "Tithe, price of peace, they're gone now." And that's all he can say. It's like, this was always going to happen, and that's a minimal cost. So yeah.
Yeah, Naomi walks over to Vaughn, and she's still, there's 600 things internally going on, but you owe me, I need to get high. And just, I guess, takes a mop, does not give a shit about anything because there was too much going on, and just starts cleaning.
Are you speed cleaning?
Yes.
Yeah.
I forgot you could do that.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good note to end the session, unless anyone else has anything else.
Yeah, just to say that Cradle just takes off his glasses and just goes and kneels down next to the bodies, and just echoes something he told Josh. And when you have something to say, silence is a lie. And he just says, "This was wrong." And
Alex will walk by, seeing him kneel, and put a hand on his back and say, "Yes, it was a necessary wrong. Regrettable, but necessary."
And I like to think that from behind Alex, Vaughn just makes eye contact with Cradle and
Yeah.
just goes,